Good morning. It is the 5th of February 2026, and the question I have been asked to answer today is, will Prince Harry be held accountable for the alleged death threat made by his team in his legal action against the Daily Mail? As you probably know, Harry and a whole bunch of his rich friends are suing the Daily Mail for alleged illegal information gathering to do with articles that appeared in the newspapers 20 years ago. So I have spoken elsewhere about the statute of limitations and how these claims should have been brought within 6 years of the alleged criminal activity taking place. But of course, the articles became republished on some news website, and the judge found, well, the statute of limitations can run from the republication date or the date at which the plaintiffs knew about the hacking or illegal information gathering. But that's not what today is about. Today is about there is a witness in this case. Now, the witness was brought by Harry's team to support the allegation of phone hacking and other illegal information gathering. His name is Gavin Burrows, and back in 2023, I believe, he said that a statement that was attributed to him and filed in the court, this is a written statement, is not one that he made. He doesn't recognize the statement, he didn't give the statement, he didn't sign the statement, and so he said back in 2023 that that's not his statement. When he came, that kind of went under the radar. His comments about that kind of went under the radar, and his team, or Harry's team, still wants to use that statement. But then earlier, about a month ago, they were the others. Well, they were asking the judge if they could just use the statement and not call the guy. We don't want him to give evidence because now he's saying something different from what the written statement said. And the judge said, no, that's ridiculous. The written statement goes into evidence, and then both parties can question the man, and particularly about his claims now that that's not even his statement at all. But what has come out now is Gavin Burrows said he's ready and he's available to give evidence about the whole statement and how that was not his statement. Well, about basically anything that the court might need from him. However, he has been asking the court if he can give evidence remotely. Because, and here's the bombshell, he says that somebody on Harry's team left him a voicemail message threatening his life. Okay, so this is absolutely crazy. Harry's lawyer, David Sherborne, has said to the court, no. This witness needs to appear in person because what he's trying to do is he's trying to hold the court to ransom by dictating the terms on which he's giving evidence. Now, if the man is fearful for his life, and we've got no reason to believe that he's not, why would you force him to come to court? Obviously, the guy doesn't want to come to court because he doesn't want to be in the presence of, I don't know, all the security people, or, he doesn't want to go out there publicly and potentially have his life put in danger. And so the question is, well, whether or not this threat got made. He says he's got the voicemail. He says he can produce it to the court if the court wants it. So we haven't heard it yet, but presumably the court will ask for this death threat to be provided. I'm not sure. However, the question becomes, assuming that there is a death threat and assuming that the voicemail can be played, would Harry be liable for something that his legal team potentially did, or was one of the investigators engaged by the legal team? Now, it's interesting that the case that Harry and Sir Elton John and a whole lot of others are bringing against the Daily Mail relates to illegal tactics in reporting the news. And if this story is to be believed, that team who's appealing to the court for relief because of the Daily Mail's illegal tactics may well themselves have engaged in illegal tactics. And nothing will happen to Harry. He will not be in trouble because of this. Of course, he will say, I had no idea that my legal team was doing this. I had no idea that the investigators were doing this. He might have privately put some pressure on his legal team to, win at all costs kind of thing. But I doubt you're going to get him any evidence anywhere of him saying, oh, yes, threaten the man with his life. So what's going to happen about the evidence? That's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting because it's quite an unusual request for a witness to say to the judge, I want to give evidence remotely. And so if the judge says, no, you can't give evidence remotely, then he has said he's not giving evidence at all. He's not going to appear. He refuses to appear in person because he says he's afraid for his life. So I don't know. If I was the judge, I would say, sure, I want to hear what this man has to say. And remote evidence, well, that's not an unusual thing, actually. In many cases, throughout the whole world, especially post-COVID era, if a witness is unavailable or they're in another country, evidence is routinely given remotely. So Harry's lawyer, his barrister, David Sherborne, saying, oh, this is unprecedented nonsense. Evidence can and in the standard course of cases has always been allowed to be given remotely if there are specific circumstances warranting it. So watch the space. We'll see what happens. I hope the judge says, yes, absolutely, give your evidence remotely, because I want to know what this man has to say about both sides. And I want to know about what he has to say about how, well, he reportedly has been bullied, not only bullied, but threatened, physically threatened. So, but even if threats are proved, nothing will happen to any of the clients. I expect nothing will happen to any of the lawyers, because even if there was a threat, it's going to be difficult to prove who the threat came from. Apparently, he knows who made the threat, the specific person who made the threat, and apparently that specific person, who can be identified, is an investigator for Harry's legal team. Anyway, watch the space. I will keep you updated, and have a fantastic day.